Hello my lovely butterflies, welcome to this very last video of 2019. You requested a flip through of my A Layer a Day art journal, so let's do this. Here it is, the full one of 2019. This is the new baby for 2020. Look at the difference. Looking forward to dive into this one, but we're not there yet. Let's have a little look at this one. I rebinded two journals together because I started in 2018 with this part. And when middle of 2019 this was full, I just started a new one and I decided to turn it into one journal. Now from this year on, from 2020 on, I will have everything nicely in one A Layer a Day art journal, and if you purchase the kit, this is what you're getting, but not this. I'll explain later why. So the first couple of spreads are still from 2018, from the A Layer a Day challenge, first year running, and as you can see, my spreads sometimes suffer in the middle. I don't care, they grow with me each and every challenge. This one is from 20 October 2018. Sometimes I do date my page, sometimes I don't. I wish I was a bit more disciplined with that because I like to see when they were actually made. Usually I can tell from whatever is on there, but sometimes it helps to have the date as well. I love how all these little thingies stick out. It gives so much dimension to everything, not only to the spread, but to the journal in its entirety. And as you can see, I go from one extreme to another. This one is probably one of my favorites from 2018 because I did something that I had never done before. I actually did this as soon as I came out of the hospital after my surgery, and this was the view that I had from my hospital room. This is actually the first spread of 2019. And it all started with some gift wrapping. I felt like covering up a lot of things for this spread, and then all of a sudden I felt like not doing that and leave a lot of white. So going from one extreme to another. And for this one, I felt like covering up the little words. I don't like the binding of this part of the journal because it's a bit wonky. It gets better in the second part of the journal. I love how the little heart is poking out on this one. It really expresses a lot of self-love in this spread. Well, not expresses a lot of self-love. It is reminding me to have self-love, to pay attention to it. This was probably one of your favorite of 2019. Even if some ink seeped through, this one received so much reactions. And yes, I do love it. Oh, my stacked little stones. How much fun it was to make this spread. Now the camera is probably not picking it up. My stones actually have texture. Let's see if I can get it to show up on the camera. Can you see that it has like texture? You can actually feel as if there's stones on there. I felt like redoing one of the spreads that I've done before, but with less a harsh contrast. So sometimes I do like to redo things, but then with little twists like less harsh contrast and then a little heart peeking there. This one was not for the A Layer a Day. This one is part of an online class that I did in a collaboration. Ah, my two boys. This is actually the first spread of the second part of the journal, and this part was done with 3 stitches, while this was done with 4. If you purchase the kit, again, this is how it's done now because this is not sturdy enough. Well, it's not nice the way it moves. Yeah, my happy place, my two boys. Did they change since that photo? I hope they won't see this. They would be happy with that. Don't tell them. Really, really love this spread as well. So much softness and contrast at the same time. This one too was one of the favorites of the butterfly community. Received a lot of reactions as well. And yeah, see through, that's how it goes. The journal lives with me, it grows with me. This one ended up upside down, which is actually a cool thing because that's what gave the idea. Well, that's what incited my patrons to ask me to do a flip your journal challenge. And yeah, this technique is one that I showed in the 5 ways to use kitchen roll in your art journal, because that's exactly what I did there. Did I switch? Oh, I skipped one. Look at that gold. You don't see me do that very often, do you? Lots of gold. I really like this spread. It's so simple and yet so striking. That black is so just right where it should be to express what I wanted to express. And then this little thing here, it looks so dimensional, and it's just a sticker. It's just playing around with a medium over a sticker. And I think it was triple thick glaze from Deco Art. And then the new stamps came along. Ah, this one was a fight. Sometimes when you look at yourself and you try to put that in your journal, well, yeah, it's a confrontation, and that is what this exactly expressed. This is the Flip Your Journal Challenge, and that is why I ended up upside down, because for each layer I flipped my journal, and this is where I ended. Oh my god. Cannot even talk properly anymore. And then redoing that same spread, again, with even more softness, because it says softness of the mind, so I want even more softness. So yeah, sometimes I do like to play around with a theme and then reusing that. Lots of coverage here. And this is where the new stamps started to show up. There weren't stamps yet, but the idea for the new stamps started to show up. Oh, actually, this is where it goes from one journal to the next. I thought we were already there, but no, this is where we go from the first part to the added part. So I also decided to stop ripping my pages. I needed the change, and that's the change that I applied. From now on, my edges will be straight and not longer ripped. Yeah, sometimes you do need those little changes. And then for that first spread in this new part, I already started upside down again. It seems to be one of my repeating little things. Oh well, so be it. I really like this one. This one was Note to Your Younger Self. I really, really like how this one came out and what it says. Unlike this one, but that's okay. All part of the process. I like this one even more because it was done during our holiday. So not only does it remind me what this journaling was about, it was the If challenge, if you were wondering. But also it takes me back to France and the little place where we were staying and journaling on the deck, and yeah, fun time. The color challenge. And then of course the shape challenge. I had so much fun including as many circles as I could in a fun, pretty unexpected way. And yes, this is damaged from working in the journal again, but that's how it is. And then a complete contrast again. I had to stay away from my favorite things for this challenge, and that's what came out. So in case you're wondering if it made me unhappy, I think the spread tells it all, especially when you see this contrast then. Where it was all about doing your favorite thing over and over again. I also really like this one. It was the first time that I could use this stamp, which was one of the new stamps, and yeah, it made me happy to be allowed to do that, and this turned out exactly how I wanted it, so happy spread, even if it doesn't look like it. This one too, I really like it because it showed to me exactly what it is I wanted to say. This was the spread about the flow, the challenge about the flow, which to me needs to be uninterrupted. It needs to be an uninterrupted thing, which I symbolized with the line here. And then, well, one of my Downton Abbey characters showed up. This is one of the vintage soul stamps, which was new back then. And then this happened. I started the All Year A Day challenge, and then I couldn't finish it because I had to go to England for the TV shows, and well, that's how it stayed. I might finish it someday, probably not, but hey, who knows. The first time I could finally use the new stencils. Yes, that made me happy too. This one was a bit particular because my patrons actually dared me to use embossing powder because I hadn't used it in so long, and that's exactly what I did. So it was a fun combination to work out, to do what I wanted to do and then include that element that my patrons wanted me to include. This one, I don't know if you can see it, but it has so much blink to it. It's just those Lindy sprays. And this is the first time I could use the masks for oh, which challenge was this? Oh, it was the one standing in front of the mirror. Yeah, where you would thank yourself for doing what it is you do to make yourself happy. Yeah, that's the one. And this one I really, really love. When I started, this one was the looking back at either 2019 or the past decade. And first, I didn't want to do the decade because, just like for everyone, a lot of things happened, and also a lot of things that I didn't want to be reminded of. But the one thing that I did want to include from past decade was my mom's passing, and although I did fight it not to make it about the decade, it did become about the decade. And I really like it. I really like how the rust shows up and expresses time passing by. Happy times, my best moments of 2019. Yeah. It's like each and every splatter is a reminder of one of those happy little moments. And this is the last spread of 2019, the lessons that I want to take with me in 2020. And I filmed it, so let's have a look. As I'm getting ready to start the spread, I realize that it is going across two signatures. So I want to hide that and I want to make it look as I'm working on one single page. So I'm cheating with a little piece of Lord Tim of Hall's tissue tape. to make sure that this isn't going anywhere while I'm working on my spread, I'm applying a little bit of soft matte gel just to secure it. I want to make sure that my color looks dreamy, so I first go in with water and then I apply Lindy's Gang using the tube instead of spraying it. And to spread my color, I'm just pushing the 2 pages together, but first I'm assuring that nothing is going anywhere else in my journal. For my next layer, I want to use my extra large charcoal blocks from Derwent. Now, as I'm working on a very small surface, I have to be very light-handed. And to blend in my charcoal, I'm using gesso. I want to soften it down a little bit more, so I'm using some more gesso and this time going in with a brayer. When I came back to it for the next layer, I completely forgot to turn on the camera, but the only thing I did was to add a little bit of crackle paste at the top of the page where I have the most gesso, and then just pulling it down with my palette knife. Coming back to it again, when the crackle paste was completely dry, I went in with Neocolors and a bit of water to really push it into the crackles and making that texture pop as much as I could. I only want to accentuate the crackles, so I'm wiping off most of that color using a baby wipe. When I was done doing the same thing on the left side, I came back with my harlequin stencil. This is the small version of it, some fresco finish and a sponge, and I'm dabbing on some of the color here and there, really light-handed, so there's actually very little paint on my sponge. As I still have some of that black paint, well, gray paint on my table, I might as well use it to enhance the edges of the spread. I thought that I was done for this layer, but I decided to go back over it with Snowflake Fresco, which is white fresco paint. Not exactly in the same place, but a little bit shifted so that it would give me this gradient kind of effect. And then I went back in with that same gray and white to add splatters. I took out my December A Layer a Day sticker sheet, took a moment to the side, and then went in with one of the stickers, but not without adding some black soot distress ink around it. And to again play with that black and white effect, I took out some cambric and used that as a background for the sticker. To make sure that my cambric will stay in place, I'm using some soft matte gel. And as I also have the sticker, well, I don't need too much of it. And then I can combine and play around with other stickers as well. As I was getting ready to take the photo of this layer, I decided to give my stickers a little bit of color using that same Lindy's gang that I used at the beginning, just to cut off the white partially. I just couldn't wait to start playing with my charcoal pencil. This one is water soluble, but in my enthusiasm I forgot something important. That is that in some areas of this spread I did have gesso and in others I didn't, which made of course for a big difference in effect of the charcoal pencil. On the left I didn't have any gesso, so I had way too much charcoal pencil. So I did what I had to do to tone it down. First I erased it a little. And then I pushed it back with some more white gesso. Like I said, I wanted to play with my charcoal pencil, so of course I had to add some circles. And this time, to make them stand out, I blended it in with some water. Now this was the last spread for 2019 of the A Layer a Day challenge. I could not add some white to my circles as well, just like I do all of my circles basically. So just going in with a white Posca pen and then diluting that white again with my water brush. And there it is, week 51 of the A Layer a Day challenge 2019. So here it is, a full year of A Layer a Day challenge in one little journal. I would like to know which one was your favorite of this year, so please do let me know in comment, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any of the upcoming A Layer a Day challenges. I am so ready to move on to the next little journal. Oh, this is so cute. Now, like I said, this cover is not available in the web shop. It was only available for my patrons. I had a faux gray leather one and a faux brown leather one that really looked like leather. I opted for the gray one for me, but I still have a turquoise one, so that might pop up as well. I will see you next Saturday, January 4th, for the launch of the new A Layer a Day challenge. It will be a very special one, so I seriously hope that you will join me. Meanwhile, butterfly kisses, and see you back next time.